In this presentation, we are going to look at alleles. Okay, so this is the subtopic that is coming from the topic genetics. So basically, we are going to look at the terms homozygous, heterozygous, dominant, and the recessive. I am your presenter, Mr. Mlenga. So we are going to look at understanding alleles. Okay, so you need to understand what homozygous allele is, heterozygous allele, dominant allele, and recessive allele. So let's look at our lesson. So we're going to start with the introduction to alleles. So what is an allele? Okay, what is an allele? So alleles can be defined in different ways. You can say alleles are two alternative forms of a gene, or you can say alleles are different versions of the same gene. So we have said alleles are two alternative forms of a gene, or alleles are different versions of the same gene. So for example, if you're talking about the gene for eye color, so we can have the alleles for brown eye and for blue eyes. So the allele for brown eyes can be presented by capital letter B, then the allele for blue eyes can be presented by small letter b. So this shows us that alleles can be presented using alphabet letters. Okay, so bear in mind that an organism has two forms of what? Alleles. So we are saying we can let capital letter B and small letter b to be used to represent alleles for browny and blue eyes. Okay, so let us now proceed. So we are going to look at the key terms. So the key terms in this case, we are focusing on the homozygous alleles. We are also going to focus on heterozygous alleles. We are also going to focus on the dominant alleles. We are also going to focus on the recessive alleles. So when we look at alleles, you must be familiar with these terms. So we are going to begin with the homozygous allele. So what is an homozygous allele? So the word homo means same. So if you are looking at homozygous alleles, we are looking at two identical alleles, okay, or two same alleles for a gene. So homozygous alleles are two identical alleles for a gene, okay. And examples of homozygous alleles that we can give, remember we have said we can use letters to represent these alleles. So we can say we can have capital letter AA or small letter AA, capital letter BB or small letter BB, capital letter TT or small letter TT, as long as they are the same and two of them, either both capital letters or either both small letters. These are what we call homozygous allele. So we have types of these homozygous alleles because we are looking at capital letters and small letters. So here we have dominant, we have homozygous dominant. So homozygous dominant is presented by a capital letter. Okay, both letters should be capitalized. That is homozygous dominant. They have the same alleles which are capitalized. Okay, apart from that, we also have homozygous recessive allele. So we can have homozygous recessive alleles that can be presented by small letters. So this tells us that dominant alleles, they are written in capital letters, and recessive alleles are written in small letters. So if you have dominant alleles which are both capitalized, that is homozygous dominant. If you have homozygous alleles, which of these two alleles are written in small letters, that is homozygous recessive. Okay, I hope it's clear here. So an example that we can give for this one, we can say if we have a pea plant which has got dominant, which is homozygous dominant, it has got these two alleles which are capitalized. So in this case, if we are talking about tallness, we are going to say that this plant is tall because of these two alleles which are dominant. Or we can say it can have homozygous recessive small letter TT, meaning that it's short. This is an example that we can give. Okay, so apart from that, let us now look at heterozygous alleles. So the word hetero means different. So when you look at heterozygous alleles, we are looking at two different alleles for a gene. Okay, so heterozygous alleles are two different alleles for a gene. For example, we can have capital letter A and the small letter a, capital letter B, small letter b, capital letter T and small letter t. These are what we call heterozygous alleles because they are showing two different alleles for a gene. Okay, so the phenotype that is now expressed in heterozygous allele, we normally follow the dominant allele. Okay, so we are saying the phenotype, only the dominant allele is expressed. For example, I was talking about tonus. Okay, so if an organism has got this allele for capital letter T and small letter t, okay, and we are referring to tonus, we are going to express, or we are going to say the phenotype of this organism to be to, because T is dominant. So we are saying, for example, a pea plant with capital letter T and small letter t. So this pea plant is having heterozygous allele. So this pea plant is going to be to because T is dominant. So in simple terms, what you are saying is that the dominant allele is always expressed in the phenotype, okay, whether it's 1. So I hope it's clear there. We now proceed. So let us now look at the dominant versus the recessive alleles. So we need to understand the difference between the two. So I've said the dominant alleles, these are alleles which are expressed even if only one copy is present. Okay, even if only one copy is present, that dominant allele is going to be expressed. So dominant alleles are expressed even if only one copy is present. For example, you can have heterozygous alleles. Okay, so if you're talking about tonus, because it's heterozygous and T is capitalized, we are going to say this organism is to. Okay, or you can have homozygous dominant, both letters are capitalized. Okay, you still say that organism is what? Is to. Now, if you are talking about recessive alleles, recessive alleles are only expressed if two copies are present. So for recessive alleles, is different from dominant alleles. Okay, so for recessive alleles to be expressed, they have to be present, both of them. Okay, remember recessive alleles are written in small letters. So you are saying recessive alleles are only expressed if two copies are present. For example, if you are talking about shortness, and if we use homozygous recessive, as you can see, so both of the alleles are recessive. So this is when we can express recessive alleles. We can say this is what? Short. So this is the difference between dominant and recessive what? Alleles. So if you have any questions, you are free to leave a comment in the comment section and I'll be able to respond to you. Okay, so let us now look at our lesson summary. So in our lesson summary, we have said homozygous alleles, these are same alleles which can be written capital letter AA or small letter AA. So for capital letter AA, we said this is homozygous dominant. Then for small letter AA, we said this is homozygous recessive. Apart from that, we have also looked at heterozygous alleles. And we have said heterozygous alleles, these are different alleles, okay, which can have a dominant allele and a recessive allele. And we have also said that a dominant allele is expressed whether it's only one copy in the gene. Okay, again, apart from that, we have also looked at the dominant allele, and dominant allele is always expressed if present. Dominant allele is always expressed if present. So when you look at this one, heterozygous, we have the dominant allele, which is the capital letter T. So this one, if you are referring to tonus, we saw that we say this organism is to, or we look at this one, heterozygous for capital letter B and small letter b. If you are talking about brown color, we can say this organism is brown because brown is dominant with a capital letter B. Okay, then we've also looked at recessive alleles. So we have said recessive alleles is only expressed in homozygous form. Okay, so if you have homozygous recessive, which is having small letters, both of them are small letters. In this case, small letter TT. And I gave an example where I said if you are talking about tallness or shortness, and a person is having this genotype where the alleles, both of them are homozygous recessive, so you can say that that organism is short. Okay, so this is all that I had for you. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye bye.